Alrighty, hello everyone, how are you my little rookeries? My name is Fumblebottle, the Dream Penguin, here to give you the comfy Z's and all the plushy hugs you could ever need. How are yous today? So without further ado... There we go. Let us continue. Wait, the job is done. Right or wrong, you gave Tigeth Wright the data he was looking for, and got paid for it. Although, admittedly, it was a pittance compared to what you were promised. A job's a job, though. Wait, and further work awaits. Here we go. Righto, we got that movement back. Alright, so, we did do the mission here. And we should probably go and see Kindly Chang. Her parlor. We're here to speak to Gaichu. The cabin is in a far better state than it was previously. The heat has been adjusted down and ventilation restored. The boxes of junk and parts have been stacked and neatly arranged, and Gaichu's small amount of personal gear is tucked away in a corner. There is a small mat in the center of the cabin that looks like it doubles as both a rug and a sleeping pad. Gaichu is seated in a lotus position, eyes closed. His fingertips rest on a braille reading that is plugged into his PDA. The device fills the room with a soft clicking from his pin combinations. As you approach, he lifts his hand from the reader's surface. Hello again, Lady Nightbot. Is there something I can assist you with? Looks like you've carved out a nice little spot here. If you say so. I doubt it be suitable for others, but I do not require much by the way of space, and have few possessions. So long as I have a quiet area in which I can sit and relax, I am happy. Now, what is it that you wish to discuss? Any thoughts about the last run? Gaichu snorts, expression turning sour. As much as I hate being double-crossed by a client, I hate failing to deliver on the contract just as much. The entire job was a no-win situation. Do we break our word, making ourselves look bad? Or do we execute a client, branding ourselves dangerous to future Johnsons? I suppose that protecting one's reputation is important. I can understand your point of view. Gaichu knits his fingers together, sighing. Still, I would like to have devoured that smug elf's face. Treachery must be punished. There are nuances to protecting one's name on the streets. Is there anything else I can do for you? What were you reading? Gaichu draws himself up, folding his palm in his lap. With one toe, he pushes the braille reader away. It is called Hagakui, Hidden Leaves, written by Yamamoto Tsunetomo, as a treatise on what it means to be a samurai, and how one should best serve one's lord. Required reading for the Red Samurai, unsurprisingly. Etiquette, academics. Wasn't he forbidden from killing himself when his lord died? Gaichu blinks, obviously surprised. A wide grin spreads across his face. Do you know of him, then? Yes, that was Tsunetomo. He was eager to die and show his loyalty, but Lord Mitsushiga had always found the custom to be wasteful. The author has a central thesis. When there is a question of life or death, always choose death. Throw oneself into the fray with no resignations, and act on instincts alone. My current state of affairs speak the truth of this more robustly than any lessons in a dojo. What's the rest of the book about? Gaijin ticks off the points by unfurling successive fingers. It is partially a manual for proper behavior towards one's lord, but partially a rumination on the mindset required to be victorious in combat, partly a collection of stories. Tsunetomo believed that to truly embody the virtues of a samurai, adherents should be mindful of their paths at all time, Never stop training. Always question how one's actions reflect on their lord. Above all, be prepared to do your duty instinctively at any time, no matter the cost. If I recall correctly, the author was a bureaucrat who never fought anyone. Gachi's lips curl into a slight scowl, but he nods in agreement. That is true. Tsuneo Tomo never fought anyone, and some have criticized him for trying to speak of being a warrior without even lifting a sword. But I believe that he has many things of value to say. He carried a great deal about the deeper meaning of being a samurai. If lived experience is only path to truth, then all philosophers are fools. I would tend to agree with that, actually. Barking out a sharp, solitary laugh, Gachi smiles. If that is your attitude, then I fear there is precious little I can do to change your mind on the subject. What does he say about masterless samurai like you? 7 times down, 8 times up. Gachi smiles thinly, wrapping a claw on the hilt of his sword. More specifically, if a samurai has not been a ronin at least 7 times, then he has not truly lived as a samurai. Those were different times, however. It was common for samurai to fall out of favor with their lord and be turned loose to wander. For company men like myself, the choice is serve or die. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? I want to know more about what it's like to be a ghoul. Gachi cocks his head at you, his milky eyes narrow mouthfully. Prepare for the eventuality of killing me and collecting the bounty? Make sure you leave my face intact. I would prefer to be well-preserved trophy. Don't worry, I have it stuffed and mounted on my wall. Gachi bares his teeth in a rictus grin. You can hear a faint chuckle rumble in the back of his throat. Now that would be an illustrious end to my career. A severed head, decorating a leaking wreck of a boat. Home to extremely private individuals who will never show me off. Couldn't you sell it to a museum or something of that sort? Gaichu growls seriously, leans back. If you wish to know about what it is like to be me, ask away. I see no reason to conceal the details of my condition. So you eat people. What's that like? Gaichu blinks a few times, cocks his head as if to stare at the ceiling. What is it like to eat anything else? Or for a diabetic to take insulin? It is like that. A fact of life. I have found that most people are revolting by the concept of eating the flesh of humans, rather than the act itself. Taken in isolation of social concerns, humans are no or less edible than most mammals. The flesh can be of poor or high quality depending on all the factors you would expect. Diet, lifestyle, etc. I prefer to prepare my meals as I would sashimi, light garnish and flavored, but with an emphasis on taste of the base meal. Did I enjoy it? No, not especially. Some Japanese are fond of pork and chicken sashimi, but I have never been one of them. Gertrude shrugs helplessly. But it is a fact that I must accept, and if it is how things will be, I will make the best of it. Do you feel bad about having to eat people? No, but I was never a vegetarian, so why would I? Gertrude seems puzzled by the question, as if he's missing nuances of meaning. It doesn't matter where the meat comes from. Someone who died in a car accident is as viable as someone I killed. I admit I have eaten people that I have killed, but that was a necessity. I was going to kill them anyway. Why let their bodies go to waste? Most schools smell like rotten meat. Why don't you? Diet and cleanliness. Most schools eat rotting flesh and do not bathe. I eat fresh meat and bathe regularly. Are you immortal? Considering this, Gaichu leans over to one elbow. I have no idea. I do not believe there have been any organized studies of ghoul longevity. Most strains of human metahuman vampiric virus impart a semblance of extended life. But I do not believe that the Krieger strain is one. Somehow I think it is more likely that I will die in combat than of old age, no matter how long I live. It might be interesting to ask a doctor. To what end? I live by the sword, and I will die by it. I have no illusions about my chances of growing old. Gaiju shakes his head in dismissal. How would I live out my days? In a rural country village, eating people who happen to expire on nearby roads? That will not be my fate. What's the deal with your teeth? What deal are you referring to? Do you file them down into those points? No, they are actually new teeth, created by the infection. I suppose it is a natural advantage of having teeth better suited for the carnivorous pursuit. Let's talk about something else. As you wish, what is on your mind? We were talking about your father bailing out of jail. Ah, yes. I do recall you asking about that. Gaichu's reticence is palpable, and a long silence that follows. He does not continue. If you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to. Gaichu sighs heavily, nodding. I have given you my word, and I intend to keep it. Do not be concerned, I simply have not spoken of my family in a long time. Were you close? Not any longer. I have not seen my father for many years now, or my mother or sister. I wish I could say that I missed them, but I feel that I hardly know them after so many years apart. Yasujiro gave me an ultimatum after my run-in with the Shiawase security. He told me that he had cut a backroom deal with a rival in Shiawase to keep me out of prison. The charges would be suspended if I finished high school and studied at Kyoto University, with the intent of joining Renroku. If I did not, Shiawase would take me into custody, and I would spend time in prison. What did that cost him? I have no idea. He refused to reveal that, and I had been forced to do in exchange. But I cannot imagine it was cheap. Insider information, perhaps? A deliberate botched contract? Yasujiro was a manager in the water and power diversion, so the deal would have been lucrative, but not a secret. I had always taken my family for granted. Raised in a Renroku family, going to Renroku schools, I always had a sense of place, of belongings where I was. The thought of all of that vanishing, I simply could not imagine it. Suddenly, the reality of my actions became clear. Goju runs his finger over his bald scalp, smiling distantly. From then on, I tried to be the son he wanted and seemed glad of it. We grew much closer over the next few years. He took time off to visit me when I was living in Kyoto. Why would that be unusual? He was a very busy man. In those days, a lot of responsibility and very little time for himself. I was impressed that he could carve off as much time as he did, just to go camping with his son. A lot of nice wilderness in that part of Japan, I'll bet. Very much so. The land around Kyoto is protected from development due to historical and cultural significance. Most of the mountains are considered sacred, so the Diet declared them a national preserve. We made several trips to the area between Kyoto and Nara, around the village of Ide. We camped Probably Ide, sorry. We camped in the mountains above it. We would hunt wild deer and boar there, using my family's antique abacus. Arquebus. That's a strange choice of weapon. It is a choice of expediency. It is nearly impossible for a private citizen to own a firearm in Japan. which is why you may often read Yakuza attacks involving swords and cleavers. As the Tanegashima that my family owns is from the 18th century, it is exempt from ordinary regulations. Gaiju chuckles softly to himself. Perhaps ironically, hunting with my father is how I learned to prepare raw meat. Strange, I think that such activity served as training for my current state of affairs. So what's the process? How do you prepare it? Soak the meat in brine water and simmer it at a low heat for several hours. Let it cook and repeat the process over several days. It cannot get too hot or I am unable to eat it. This process brings out the collagen in the meat. When it is done, I spice it with ginger and sansho pepper. Again, not too much. Mundane food is an anathema to me. Sighing happily, Gaiju stares off into the distance. When you look back, he smiles broadly at you. Those were good days. I'm sorry I cannot go back to those times. When one joins Red Samurai, one must give up all attachment of one's previous life. The company, the code, and the unit becomes the entirety of your world. Even if your family ties have been cut, especially those, anything that could distract you from your mission must be purged. Commitment to the unit and the company must be total. Applicants must be human, Japanese, and utterly devoted to Renroku. Your unit becomes your family. Your commander is your father and mother. Your teammates are your siblings. Red Samurai are not allowed to reveal our identities and position to anyone outside of the Special Operations Group. Even if we wanted friends outside the unit, we could not have them. So how did you end up joining the Renroku? Ah, a fair question. Given my youthful indiscretions, Roger leans back. His blind eyes turn towards the ceiling. Are you familiar with the Kempeitai? Aren't they the Japanese political police? Yes. Much like the commissars of the Soviet Union, they are responsible for enforcing political and social orthodoxy. Not only concerned with the army, the Kempeitai also enforce certain laws with regards to general populace. It is my understanding that there are Gestapo. It seems like a useful thing to have to ensure national pride. That is not entirely accurate, but it is more correct than not. It is an organization with little oversight, broad powers, and simply recruitment methods. As such, power tends to get the better of most members. When I was enrolled at Kyoto University, I studied global security and political sciences. It is the major general used as a gateway to private security positionings in both government and corporate militaries. I knew I wanted to fight. I was a young man. My blood was always up. One of the requirements was that the students join the Youth Brigade Kempeitai. The Youth Brigade is a bit like the ROTC in North America, the Young Falcons in the Sioux Nation, or the District Officer Program in the Republic of Korea. Members learn to be soldiers without actually joining an army. They perform community service and promote civic pride. Performance and prestige of the Kempeitai used to dictate later job opportunities, a bit like a good internship. Did you enjoy it? Not at first. Later it became pleasant. Power is a heady thing, especially for a youth who has few superiors to answer to. We developed a sense of superiority over others and began to abuse our power. I believe that may have been the point. Surely they wanted you to use your power responsibly. Quite the opposite. They wanted to engender those who feels feelings of superiority and encourage the Youth Brigade to see themselves as above the common citizen. The state is above the individual, and as instruments of the state, we were taught that we were as well. We did as we were taught. Such is the way of the authority on the young. Gaiju shrugs indifferently. What's done is done, it's in the past. Gaiju inclines his head towards you. This is my feeling as well. At the time, behaving in that way is inappropriate. Now it is not. When I was nearing graduation, I was approached by the recruit with Renroku security. She told me I came from a good family and could have a promising career in the company. She offered to fast-track my application towards a potent Red Samurai position. 3 years with the Renroku military as a junior officer, and guaranteed placement in the Red Samurai training billet of my choosing. The pay was good, and the excitement of being an elite was an attractive position. I accepted, but I did not truly understand what it was I was signing up for. As I told you before, they force you to give up everything, except the company and the unit. That was made clear to me, but I did not truly understand it. Did you regret your decision? On the whole? No. I do not know who I would have been had I not joined. Perhaps there are things that I missed, but regret is perpetual. One is always tempted to ask, what if? But that is a trap. Gaiju raps 2 knuckles on his breastplate. This is who I become, and the armor is my protection and my identity. The training was extremely difficult, both mentally and physically. I knew that I would be isolated from my old life, but I did not anticipate the full extent of that isolation. All Red Samurai recruits report to the facility called the Forge in Chiba. You are assigned a unit, you and 4 other recruits, and for the next 2 years, the Forge will be your home and prison. Shaking his head wistfully, Gaiju snorts. It seems ridiculous in retrospect. We were all so young, none of us had any idea what we were doing, except trying to be the best soldier in the world. And yet, those strangers became my new family, in the absence of the old. See you later, Gaiju. If there's anything else I can do for you, please let me know. Alright, let's go talk to Kindly Cheng. Kindly Cheng is in the midst of emptying 2 plastic shopping bags when you enter. She places the contents in a pile on her mahjong table. 2 lacquer bottles without labels, a box of her thin black cigars, an assortment of individually wrapped gourmet chocolates, and a large caliber pistol with electrical tape wrapped around its grip. Ah, good, you are here. She finishes the plastic bag and throws them to the floor. It seems like forever since we last saw each other. Forever? You haven't been gone that long, auntie? No, I haven't. That was just something Nightjar used to say to me. Cheng smiles wistfully. Every time he saw me. While I was away, I met with several contracts within my network who referred to me to others in neighboring cities regardless of how far technology moves forward. Tradition demands of some things to be held face to face. I have information that will lead you to the man who killed Raymond Black. Now, as I said at the beginning, Raymond Black, or Mr. Black as I said at the beginning, is your foster father. There is no Raymond Black. The Triad Woman's eyes narrow. What do you mean there's no Raymond Black? We've been lied to this whole time. Wu and me. Raymond Black is actually Edward Sang. Raymond Black is Josephine's son? Her brow furrows. Yes, you were lied to. For a very long time. This explains why he went where he disappeared years ago. Seattle. Any idea why he disappeared? No. Just that he went missing after Josephine completed rebuilding the walled city. That was in the early 30s? The current year here is 2052, I believe. Or 2053. Her face twists into a mask of disgust. You realize what this means, don't you, my sweet? That inbred little goat whore was cold enough to have her own son executed. Even more reason to find the plastic-faced man. Have you found out? Everything you need to move forward. She grabs a bottle and opens it. I know the identity of the plastic-faced man. His name is Lee Tai-lung. and he's an independent contractor, a trusted, deniable asset who handles all Josephine Zhang's more delicate operations. Off the books and away from the public eye, the plastic-faced man is her shadowy right hand outside of the corporation. Chang doesn't bother with the glass. She just takes a long pull of the stinking bottle and wipes her mouth with the back of her hand. And I know where to find him too. I've made contact with the information broker, Xiao Zi, who works out of an abandoned night market in Shek Kip Mei, called the Xing House Court. It is not hard to find. She takes another pull on the bottle. Xiao Zi has gained access to the plastic-faced man's complete itinerary, where he'll be, who he'll be with, what sort of security he'll have. The works. She grins glass-eyed. You can use it to perform an extraction. Grab him and find out what he knows. Did you find out why Lee has a face made of plastic? It is not just a face, Lee says. Tai Lung's entire skull is synthetic. He's designed himself to be the perfect corporate operative. He's installed a unique piece of hardware you see. It allocates and compartmentizes client-related memories so that they can be erased upon completion of a job. And as an added security measure, this cortical implant will wipe his memory if it detects that he is being captured. Seriously, he can just wipe out everything have to do with selling mechanical services? That's all part of his branding, apparently. Unless you can find a way around the cortical implants, you'll have no way to extract the information he has and figure out what happened to Raymond Black. She circles the mouth of the bottle with her index finger. Now, I've done my part in this, my darling. You need to find a way to neutralize that device. Isabel interjects, her voice breaking silently as she speaks. I know a way. I've heard of something like this before. I've met someone in the Matrix who had a similar memory wipe implant once. It was a requirement for a big job, and she pulled it off. Keep talking. Her handle is Dreamland, and I know where to find her. All that we have to do is convince her to give up the secrets of how she did it. Okay, Isabel, and I will go see Dreamland before we hit the information broker. Then we grab the plastic-faced man. No matter who you choose to help, you snatch this guy, I'm gonna be there when you extract the information from him about Raymond. Brew crosses his arms across his chest and tilts his head towards you. You got it, Sam. We should be there. Gobbet, eyebrows arched high. I know I want to see this. Very good, my darlings. Now listen to me. After you get what you need from the plastic-faced man, I want you to end him. You understand? The Dryad boss taps the table with her finger. I need to send a very clear message that this is what happens when you mess with Kindly Chang's operations, with Kindly Chang's people. Joseph takes Nightja, I take her plastic-faced man. Once you snatch the plastic-faced man, Zhang will know something is happening. And events will unfold very quickly after that. You'd best close out any pressing business you have before heading to Shikep-Mei to see Xiao Ji. Do you understand? Once I snatch the plastic-faced man, I turn off the lights in the Shadowrun store and lock the door. Check. Such a colorful way of saying it. Only Cheng raps on the mahjong table with an imitation ivory tile. Just be sure your affairs are in order before you head to see the information broker. Alrighty. So, what do we have here? Do I need to do anything else? Get some rest. You wake with a start, your limbs bound up in a sweaty tangle of linen bed sheets. An incredible sorrow swells in your chest. You feel empty, half-starved and alone. Fragmentary memories of half-remembered dreams flit through your mind. They're already fading away to nothing. Let them fade. You blink 3 or 4 times, letting the seconds pass between closing your eyes and opening them again, shaking your head. Something is nagging at you, a lingering unease. All at once, the memories hit you with the force of a sledgehammer, cracked dead in the center of your forebrain. The walled city. You were back in the walled city. You don't remember how you got there, but it couldn't have been any place else. Even the barrens were so squalid. You remember craning your neck and looking above you. The buildings that were up this part of the walled city were new constructions, even cheaper than the old. Now their foundations have rotten out underneath them, and your buildings leaned into one another like a gang of drunk men. A rain of plaster and asbestos sprinkled down, dusting your shoulders. You begin to creep forward, picking your way past the piles of refuse and debris, past the pumps and the dumpster fires, the broken glass and the dirty needles. The air reeked of rot, sewage, and industrial waste. A disgusting melang that caught in your sinuses and crawled down your throat. You gag on the sink, but it didn't slow you down. In the back of your mind, you know that you had no reason to be doing this. There was nothing for you in this walled city. You shouldn't have been there. But the rest of you was hungry. Unbearably, indescribably hungry. And that part of you knew that if you kept moving, you'll finally get to eat. As you forced your way deeper into the walled city, locals stood at their windows and stared, and inexplicably, some of them dropped to their knees. You kept moving. You could see something in the distance, a silhouette, something enormous, at least twice the size of a troll, but delicate. It was beautiful. The huge figure beckoned you, gesturing with slender limbs. An explosion of warmth filled your chest, and you knew that if only you could reach it, your problem would be over. She, would make all of your sorrows disappear. You moved forward at a crawl, but the figure felt impossibly far away. You reach out, calling to her, and you woke up. The empty feeling in your stomach slowly fades, taking the strength and vibrance of the memories along with it. I like the sound of the rain. The MDR doors open. Meet with Dreamland and see what she knows. The tenement that Dreamland lives in smells of mold and desperation. The people living here are the kind who don't want to be found. Okay. This is the right place, Lady Nightbot. Emily should be in the first apartment. Is she dangerous? She shouldn't be. Emily's a decker, yes, but she's really more into programming than she is violence. Her handle is Dreamland, after all. She's quit running last year. Something about some sort of activist activities that she used to be into. And a bunch of big money execs who are holding a grudge. Emily's from Berlin, but she moved to Hong Kong after the F-state collapse. The Shockwell rioter, I think. Sorry if I mispronounced that. That's the group that she worked for, where we're supposed to protect her, but they've got their own problems to deal with now. I guess that she decided she'd be safer on her own. I heard about the fall of F-State. Sounded like chaos. F-State? I'm not up to my word politics. An experiment in sustaining instinctual anarchy. Great environment for Shadowrunner, but it ended up just like communism did. Another pipe dream. The German government gave the corporation the go-ahead to invade last year, and they forced the anarchists to retreat to the eastern part of the city. Now, Berlin's run by the corps, just like Hong Kong. I bet they'll wind up building a wall again. Wouldn't put it past them. Okay, so how should we handle this friend of yours? No clue. I've never really met her in meat space. Just be your charming self. I'm sure that everything will work out just fine. First part of the apartment. There's only one place for me to go. There's no other doors here. The apartment is no better than the hallway. Empty fast food cups and packages of dried snack foods are strewn about the room. In the corner, a box of cat litter sits filled and overflowing. You don't see any cats. There's a patched together matrix terminal sitting on a stack of crates connecting to a banged up cyberdeck. Within arm's reach of the cyberdeck is a 20-something woman with pale skin, dirty blonde hair, and a bleak expression. Emily looks at the deck slung across Isabella's back. So you're Isabella, huh? I didn't expect... A dwarf? Isabella coughs nervously. Yeah, I get that a lot. No. I didn't expect you to be so pretty. The woman has a soft German accent and dour in disposition. I can't do a German accent. I'm struggling with the accents I got already. I'm sorry. I should never have agreed to this, Isabel. She groans. I should never have even responded to your message. If the oligarch swine who've been hunting me find out where I am. They won't find out from here. Uh-huh. Emily searches your eyes with her own. You can see the intelligence in her, but it's hard to get past her sullen manner. This woman is the one I told you about. She needs the software that you developed to inhibit your cortical implant. She needs what? Her tone is sharp. Her eyes flash daggers at Isabel. I don't think I should get into this. I need your help, Emily. That's great, Lady Nightbot. Now go away. I've got my own problems to deal with. She pulls out a near-empty pack of German cigarettes and lights the last one. In case you're not up to current events, I've got a kick line of mercs and bounty hunters after me. Messing around with hardware that the Schockenweiler rider installed in me is the last thing on my mind. Charisma 3. Look, this is important. I need that software you create so I can find out about what happened to my father. Your father, huh? Sounds rough. Is he dead? Maybe. He's missing, that's for sure. She softens. Been there. Or something like that, there. It's the ambiguity that'll kill you. She considers it for a moment. Okay, give me a minute. Emily grabs the cyberdeck and jacks it in. Her jaw goes slack, and her fingers hover over a keyboard, tapping the keys at blinding speed. When she finishes, she jacks out and ejects a data stick from the deck. Here. She hands you the stick and a taser gun with masking tape around the grip. Modify this taser with it and you should get it on your target. The jolt should stop the memory wipe process before it starts. Thank you. Don't mention it, she sighs. I wish every problem was that easy to solve. Take! Stash it. The MTR doors open as you approach. Go to Check Kip May and acquire the plastic face man's itinerary. Now, Duncan wants to be there. Isabel. Let's grab Gobbet as well. Confirm. Yep. The extraction. Isabel has modified a taser to introduce Dreamland's cortical inhibitor program to the plastic face man's neural network. That should stop his hardware from completing a memory wipe and allowing you to interrogate him for information about Raymond Black. But first you'll need him. Currently, Cheng made contact with an underground information broker named Zhao Ji, who has managed to obtain the plastic face man's complete itinerary. With it, you can choose the time and place to perform an extraction and find out what he knows. Zhao Ji works out of an abandoned night market in Shek Kip Mei. The Xing House Court. Game autosave. Meet with Zhao Ji. Xing House Court, top floor. The dwarf is the queen of her little hive, a nattering or swarm of snitches stools, and spies. Avarice gleams in her eyes. They dart around you, taking in morsels of information so quick they appear to vibrate. She mumbles little mnemonic rhymes to herself as she tags and labels you all. Ah yes, the new on the scene runner, Lady Nightbot. She rocks in place, humming softly, replying to herself. My friend in Hui said you'd be coming to see me. We're here for the information about the man with the plastic face. A mutual friend said you had some. Jai Ji's eyes widen with joy of her job, and she hums her little hymn. Very timely intel, very timely. I have his complete up-to-the-minute itinerary. Where he'd be, who he'll be with, security coverage, the deluxe package. How much for this deluxe package? Unfortunately, the deluxe package is no longer for sale, nor is any information about him. Sorry. Xiao Xi's expression oozes with cunning. I received another offer. A better offer. To take it off the market just before you arrived. From who? Li Tai Tung's client. I believe you know the company. She fumbles with her fingers a bit. I feel really bad about this, but the offer was too good to pass up. Way too good. The kindly Cheng set me up. No, Lady Nightbot. Miss Tsang set you up. She's big in Hong Kong and getting bigger. She's already the front runner for the next chairperson of the Executive Council. Attaching myself to her is smart. Very smart. Xiaoji fumbles with her fingers a bit more. She can't make eye contact with you. And all I need to do is make sure you don't walk out of here alive. Ambush! Finally, a bit of combat. However, it's always them that gets the first turn. Slightly annoying. But what can you do? I'll throw a stun ball at them. You're a little dweeb. Sorry, sir. Full auto! Isabella's got some pretty nice pistol skills, even if she's not all that accurate. She does some pretty dumb damage with it, though. Ooh. Ow. Alrighty, so let's go with Mana Ball. There's a bit of damage there. She's not doing as much damage as I thought, but that's alright. Wow, right in front of you and you miss? Alright. There we go. Ah, that's not what I wanted. But that was. There we go. But the little turd ran off. No. Xiaoji left her computer unlocked. She plugs her deck into it and scans the screen. She has the plastic-faced man's complete itinerary. This will tell us everywhere he's going to be for the next 24 hours. We have the upper hand. Let's play it safe and keep it that way. Sounds good to me. She pauses, accesses a few files, does some searches. First, the bad news. He's got a security detail that drives him from place to place. 6 corporate agents plus a driver. Anytime he's out on the move, he's in a reinforced bulletproof limo. He's also got a personal bodyguard that's with him at all times. But there are some windows of opportunities we can take advantage of. When he's going someplace, they drop him off and leave him in the hands of local security, if any. The bodyguard stays behind, but the other 6 guards stay with the driver. The details itself is shared by a few executives, so they'll be with someone else until his next pickup time. Their convoys are on a schedule managed by the master system at Sang HQ. Okay, I've got 3 good leads here. I think we can run an extraction on any one of these. Number 1, the parking garage at Central Plaza. He's there for a meeting in an hour. We can grab him on the way out. It's still secured corporate property, so there will be resistance, but it's the weakest out of the corporate properties he visits. Plus side, there won't be any civilians. Access is limited, and he's listed as a VIP in their system. Not too bad. Enclosed space means he can't run. Interesting. Next lead. Next one is a bit personal. Mr. Plastic has a mistress visits her twice a week. Today's the day he'll be at Wu Yang Tower buildings for 2 hours. It is not corporate property, but it is privately owned. The management company has a security contract on it, so it's likely we'll have a fight on our hands, trying to get him out of him in tow. It's less crowded than the parking garage, but the lady might complicate things. Interesting. Who goes for plastic face guy? Alright, what's the last location? We have to grab him before he gets home tonight. Once he's home, we're screwed. He's staying in the Sang Executive Arcology guarded 24 hours by corporate security and 2 blocks of Hong Kong Police Force HQ. The final location we could grab him is his last stop for the evening. It's locally owned public Simpsons theater, a hole in a wall that specializes in underground horror flicks. He's there for an hour and 45 minutes, and his security detail will be all the way across town to pick someone else up. We'll probably have to deal with local police only. But this is public theater. It's going to be packed with regular people just trying to take in a movie. What's your take of it? Garage doesn't have enough escape routes. Too secure. Too many potential reinforcements. I'm not into it. Personally, I go to the mistress's place. It's like a giant middle finger right in the face, and it sends a message. Don't mess with us. Duncan? Garage is my pick. Cars in the garage will provide cover, limited entrance and exits to worry about, reinforcements, small amounts of collateral damage. The Simpsons parlor and the apartment are going to end in blood. Maybe less of our blood, but more of someone else's. I don't want that on my head. What's your choice, Isabel? The parking garage, it's compromised. I think the benefits outweigh the downsides, but I think straight 5 will be the whole way. I've made my decision. Let's go to the mistress's apartment. Da-da-da-da-da. Sorry, I had to. In that case, Isabella taps a few more keys on her deck. I've got the code to the front door. Here it is, 112798. I'm gonna be with you guys in a second. Just bear with me. I'll be back in like maybe not even 5 minutes. Just gonna heat something up and then chew that up real quick. Alrighty. Ooh. Damn it. Keypad. The door slides open. Oof. Wait, where is the item? Oh, right there. Rounds until he's unconscious. Right, you. End. Ow. Oh my. Alright, so it's time for some elemental. What gummery's going on here? I think I can go for that and go here. I think you'll be fine there. Oh well, I tried. Line of sight's going to be an issue. No line of sight. Damn it. No well. Oh, got him. Increase her accuracy. Damn it. There we go. The neural inhibitor device seems to be working. Let's get the neural inhibitor device seems to be working. Let's get this guy to a secure location and get some answers out of him. I'll calm the crew and have them meet us. Alright, let's get moving. The crew is silent as you lead your captive to the rooftop rendezvous point you designated before the run. Just as you planned, you find the others waiting there for you. Li Tai Lung's artificial features are molded into an expression of aloof intellect and mocking rigidly. The plastic that makes up his face is soft, flexing with the emotion of his underlying musculature, overlapping wafers of silver and bronze foil buried inside the material, catching the light as he moves. It's the work of a master craftsman, cyberware as a form of modern art, like commissioned at modern art prices, an ostentatious display of status and wealth. The plastic-faced man examines the zip ties that bind his wrists with an expression of detached amusement. Isabel runs a long cable from a PDA to the jack in the back of his head and nods at you. Well then, this is interesting, I must say. He chuckles an odd owl sound. Ha 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 ha. I don't recall ever having been in this situation before. Usually, I simply awaken to find myself in a strange, new environment, wondering what happened. Guess there's a first time for everything, huh? He surveys your crew with detached indifference. Looking at the lot of you, I think it's safe to assume that a violent extraction of information is the next order of business. Or we can bank on that asshole. Rui focuses his attention on the plastic-faced man's kneecaps. So, you choose to grab me in an intimate moment. I suppose that's wise. Only moderate resistance, but the girl paid for it, didn't she? He considers. Clearly, the preservation of metahuman life isn't a high priority for you. Lady Nightbot, we have a problem. Isabella stares at her PDA. Dreamland's neural inhibitor software isn't interacting with this guy cortical implant the same way it worked with her own. It's only going to slow the memory wipe process. How long we have? I don't know. We're talking about software I didn't write. Interacting with two different pieces of hardware I've never seen before. We're lucky this is working at all. She begins the flurry of two-handed thumb taps on her PDA. I'll try and key in some buffering routines or something to slow it as much as I can, but my confidence is low. Isabella shakes her head at her PDA, her face pinched in frustration. This guy's memory is going to be wiped one way or another. I'd start asking questions, Lady Nightbot. Tense. Very tense. The silky plastic on his face slides into a smooth smile. I guess I'll answer your questions, rather slowly. Break one of his fingers. Lee's finger. There's a storm outside my house. Lee's finger breaks with a loud snap. His face remains rigid and expressionless, although his body tenses and his breath hitches for a moment. Beyond that, he makes no sound. That was extreme. The plastic-faced man's voice remains calm, removed. There was no need for that. I was joking. Of course, I am going to give you what you want, although this can be a dangerous profession. I have no intention of absorbing pain for a client if that can be avoided. His chin lifts a bit and his tone becomes even more matter-of-fact. You ask a question, Lady Nightbot, I'll answer them as efficiently as I can. When we're done, I'll shake hands with the stranger and walk away wondering what just happened. Why is Josephine Sang trying to kill us? She believes you're here to destroy one of her special projects. Why does she think that? Because that's why her son came back to Hong Kong. Edward Sang. No, wait. Raven Black. My father. Bruce stands up, tall. Takes that amused tone he gets when someone's about to get hurt. Hey, Mr. Plastic. Maybe you could settle a bet between me and my sister. Rui puts his face close to Lee's. His breath fogs the plastic. Now, I think Raven is still alive, but my sister here isn't so sure. Rui's voice drops to a stage whisper. Which is it, buddy? Raymond Black, dead or alive? I got 20 new in on this. Guys, a status bar just popped up. It isn't moving yet, but you'll never know when it might take a jump. The little decker watches her screen for a moment. It's stuck at 0 right now, but the process is starting and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Raymond Black is alive. I didn't kill your father. How do we know he isn't lying? I'm hoping that by giving you everything you want, you'll leave me alive when this is all over. Lee reaches out his zip tie hands to Isabella. He's perfectly manicured. Here, give me that PDA. I'll show you something. Isabella pulls away on instinct and looks at you. You're running out of time and holding old guns. I have information you want and I'm going to give it to you willingly. Go on, hand it to him. The plastic-faced man takes the PDA from Isabella and stares down at the screen. His eyes become unfocused and he stands like a statue. A low-resolution video recording pops in onto the screen. A small, withered man, easily in his 70s, is strapped into a high-tech chair and connected to an elaborate scientific instrument behind him. The recordings is from the first-person perspective, presumably the plastic-faced man's. This is when I first bought your father to Josephine Tsang. His eyes remain unfocused, still as a statue. After I took him from the tea house on the docks. The video continues and a voice can be heard from off-screen, a woman's. Her voice is muted and you can't make out what she says, but her tone is unambiguous, strong, confident, and mature. In contrast, the man's voice is gravely weary. His head lolls to the side. May I have some water, Mother? My throat feels like it's on fire. The point of view turned to the right and gracefully woman and indeterminate age steps into view. She is clearly advanced in years, but access to a nourishing diet and cutting-edge pharmaceutical gives her the vitality of someone much younger. Yes, of course, Edward. I'll have someone bring you some ice chips. There is a genuine concern in her voice. She turns to the camera and her tone hardens. I want you to be gentle with him. I assure you, I was gentle. He's apparently been through some sort of ordeal, appeared demented at times. He's been mumbling about stopping prosperity. Yes, well, that won't be happening. The woman turns back to her son, who appears older than she is. She speaks a bit loudly, as if he is hard of hearing. We won't be stopping prosperity, Edward. I want you to get out of here. I want you to get that out of your mind. Do you understand? I understand perfectly well, Mother. There's no need to shout. But I won't give up. Prosperity must be stopped at all those poor people. Must be stopped. All those poor people. The woman frowns and shakes her head. I know, Edward. I know those poor people. I've done a lot of good to make up for it since you left. Shelters, hospitals, all that sort of work. And now it's time for you. Now it's time to do something for you. Something I should have done a long time ago, perhaps. She walks up close to the old man, strokes his head tenderly, leans forward and kisses it. As she does from the left side of the screen, a man enters in a white lab coat. A woman looks up and nods, and the lab-coated man places a chrome apparatus on the old man's head. He speaks dreamily as if a drug has started to work. What is this, Mama? What are you doing to me? I'm fixing you, Edward. She walks up and close to the old man, strokes his head tenderly, leans forward and kisses it. All you can see is failure. You're incapable of seeing the good in what you've done. The man in the white lab coat presses a button on Raymond's chair and a robotic arm swings into view. A cobalt blue light springs from its tip and the arm quickly circumnavigates the old man's head, bathing in an oscillant blue. A high-definition, three-dimensional image of Raymond's brain appears to be on the wall behind. I've been inspired by Mr. Lee here. The woman turns and looks at the camera. We're going to do some editing of your memories to relieve you of this burden. Raymond mumbles dreamily, desperately fighting to get a word out. No, Mother. Wait. I figured out what to do. And then he's asleep. The woman moves closer to the camera. Your payment will be made according to our agreement. She turns away, her voice is cold. Once the rest of them are dead, the video ends and the plastic man face exhales slowly. Looks to me like his mother was going to try and rewire his brain or something to fix him. What kind of a mother would do that? The bad kind. Gwyn turns to you. You see? I knew it. I told you, Lady Nightbot. Raymond's alive. Where is he? Prosperity Towers, Sang Mechanical Engineers Corporate Headquarters. That's Prosperity Joseph and Sang's office building? Not exactly. Prosperity Tower is Sang's Mechanical Engineering Corporate Headquarters. Prosperity is also the secret project her son Edward was working on. Which one do you want to know about first? His voice takes a sing-song tune. Tick-tock. I want to know everything about Prosperity Towers. I'll tell you what. In the interest of time, I'm going to make you a little gift. The plastic-faced man's eyes rolled to the back of his head. A moment later, a Twitter emits from Isabel's PDA. A 2 terabyte file just downloaded into my PDA. That's everything I got on Prosperity Tower. Guard stations, jackpoint, security protocols. The makeshift streetlight gleams on the plastic-faced man's face, reflecting you like a funhouse mirror. This is where you say thank you. Want to hear all about the Prosperity Project? Of course you do. Well, that's going to be challenging. You see, Prosperity Project is Joe Tsang's best kept secret. And the best way to keep secret is to not tell anyone, even someone whose memory can be wiped. All I know is that Prosperity is something built deep inside Kulong Walled City. Some kind of experiment that her son Edward was working on, and now his mother is trying to rewire his brain or something to fix her son. Something catches her eye and she looks down suddenly. Shit! Isabella thumbs her PDA furiously, but no use. That's it. He's wiping. She pulls the cable from her PDA and drops it to the ground in aggravation. Oh, hello? Plastic-faced man looks down at his zip-tied hands and then slowly surveys the surroundings. Well, isn't this awkward? What do you want to do with this guy? He's got no memory, so it's probably safe to let him go. But Auntie said he should take a dirt nap. He raises his rifle. It's all the same to me. And him? What Auntie wants, Auntie gets. But he gave us everything we asked for and more. He's seen our faces. But I have nothing to connect them with. If it's all the same to you, I prefer to just walk away. No loose ends. End him, Guncho. A pleasure. Revelations. The trip from Shekip May back to Hawaii is quiet as you process the information revealed by the plastic-faced man. Prosperity is a name. 2 names, actually. One is the secret project Raymond was working on before he left for Seattle. The other is the corporate headquarters of Zhang Mechanical Services. And Prosperity Towers is where Raymond Black is being held alive. It's also where his memory is in the process of being reprogrammed by his mother. And time is ticking. The plastic-faced man proved surprisingly amenable and quite useful. Before you kill him, your next stop is kindly Chang. She'll want to hear this. Alright, saving. You step out to the MTR station and into the balmy night air. An impregnable wall of clouds, heavy with imminent rain, has blown in from the south. It covers the stairs, causing them to wink out one by one. You can smell something in the air, something electric. The wind whips up around you. The clouds begin moving in a thick grayscale swirl. The spiral builds and growls, shimmering with a faint amber light. As you watch the clouds roil in the sky, the sounds of a city retreat. A bubble of soft white noise replaces them, wrapping around your head and reflecting your own heartbeat back on you. You look down from the clouds to see a light on the docks dancing in a warm, saturated blue. Enjoy the stillness. You lean back and take in your surroundings. The boats, the golden glow of the light on the water, the lapping of gentle waves against the docks. And then the first twinge tickles your chest, lets you know that something's coming. A moment later, you feel incredible tightness in your chest, and feels like your heart is being crushed under the foot of a giant. Your vision goes grey and your sense of balance disappears. Gradually, blood rushes in to refill the organ inflated like a balloon. Force your body to remain calm. You calm yourself. Breathe. Gradually, your heart rate normalizes and the world swims back into focus. Something is still very definitely wrong, but you're able to face it with a clear head and a steady heartbeat. You place one foot in front of the other, determined to face whatever it is and overcome it. A tingle sensation washes over you, suffusing you to the core. You stumble forward and every cell in your body seems to vibrate. The energy thrums inside of you, pulsating, building to an unbearable crescendo. And when you're on the other side of it, you find yourself standing in a familiar courtyard, the walled city. You're back in the walled city, just like in your dreams. You can taste the stench of the place, mildew and plaster and wet dog stink of the slum. No, this isn't real. You squeeze your eyes shut and shake your head, willing the images to disappear, willing yourself back to Hue, and out of the decaying slum that you found yourself in. When your eyes open, nothing has changed. The crumbling facade of tenement builds lean into one another above you, closing in on either side and creating a narrow walkway. Just like in your dreams, there's nowhere else to go. There's nowhere else to go. Nowhere but forward, down the path ahead. Stay where you are. You plant your feet and wait. Wait for something to change, for the walled city to fade away and the Hue docks to return. You wait for what feels like hours, nothing change. Might as well start walking. You let your legs carry you forward. You feel a creeping sensation of certainty in the back of your mind, and it tells you that you've taken this time walk hundreds of times before. The sense of claustrophobia mounts and builds with every step that you take. It feels like you're worming your way forward down a long, dark tunnel. The humidity of the place sticks to your skin. As you proceed deeper into the walled city, a low rumble fills the air, the noise of an enormous gears in motion. You feel hollow, empty, and with every step you take, you can feel that emptiness growing, an unbearable yearning, unlike any hunger you've ever known. Continue forward. You continue walking, just as you always have, just as you were meant to. Off in the distance, an alien silhouette beckons to you. It's her, the tall, slender thing from your dreams, the elusive figure that you have always been moving toward, but could never quite reach. A crowd of local lines the paths ahead, kneeling in supplication. They look emaciated, all skin and bones, clothed head to toe in dirty rags. Ignore them and keep moving. You brush past the kneeling figures and continue forward. As you do so, the mounting sense of correctionness builds in your chest. These people are beneath notice. They should be ignored. Your feet carry you past them, and soon enough they've faded from view. Your legs carry you deeper and deeper into the beating heart of the tenement. If you haven't reached the center yet, you must be close. It's incredibly hot and humid in here. The sweat rolls down your body in sheets. Your thoughts go hazy with the heat, and dim senses of unease take root in the pit of your stomach. Push through it. You grit your teeth and push forward, struggling to ignore the fog. The omnipresent sound of grinding gears isn't helping. Looking up, you can see where the noise is coming from. A hatch. The same door that you saw in your nightmare back when all this began. The markings on the door are legible now. A single word faded yellow paint. Prosperity. Suddenly, impossibly, the alien figure that you've been moving toward is standing right in front of you. At the same time, your vision finally clears, and ice water runs through your veins. The walled city isn't a slum at all. It's an enormous gaping maw, and the buildings are the forest of crooked teeth. The thing reaches for you. With inhuman speed and grace, it plunges fingers of polished ivory into your mouth, Slowly, terribly, it begins to wrench your jaw open. You can feel your teeth splinter and break, and rough fingers on your shoulders snap you back into reality. A hand clenches into your vice-like grip and yanks you back off your feet. You come crashing down on the floor of Hue, MTR station. You feel a rush of wind just in front of you. A passing train. What's wrong with you, Lady Nightbot? Strangler Bao eyes you coldly. Auntie Cheng's lost too many runners already. Besides, there are cleaner ways to end your life than jumping in front of a train. I was just in a walled city, then this thing. He cuts you off with a grunt. You were hallucinating. And you almost just got yourself killed. Now get up and get back to the floating wreck that you sleep in. You don't get to die in here unless Miss Cheng says so. Alright, so I'm going to quickly save it here. And I'm probably going to end it here. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for joining me this evening. Anyway, the Stream Penguin likes to thank you for joining me this evening. Once again, the Stream Penguin would like to say thank you very much for your time. The Stream Penguin loves you, wishes you the good Z's, and all the comfy hugs you could ever need. Until next time, you have a wonderful cycle. Bye-bye.